I took them in. Why is it always creepy music? I'm just getting a parcel. St. Michael's boarding school is a magnificent place, an elegant and traditional school that provides boys from a good background a future of success and excellence. My name is Montgomery Johnson. You can call me Monty. In fact, please do. This is Alex. We've just met. Alex, this is Damian. Oh, and this one's Rick. He's the clever one of the group, so I hope you'll accept to study with us this term too, will you? Hey internet, it's Jessica and welcome back to A Hand in the Darkness. So we're gonna continue on with Alex and his little introduction to the school. So far, I'm liking Monty a lot, so I may do his route first. But we shall see how the story progresses. Anyway, let's continue. The next day was extremely long and exhausting. I woke up very early, but the bathrooms were already taken, so I couldn't take a bath as I would liked. I tagged along with Monty to the religious service and then to breakfast and the lessons. Every teacher seemed to be strict and serious, and after the never-ending lessons I came to a sad conclusion. I was behind in almost every subject. That sucks. Well, how was your first day at St. Michael's? Well, now I can see the difference between my previous school and this one. The level here is way higher. Monty chuckled. But that was what to be expected, wasn't it? Don't worry, Rick, Damian, and I will help you catch up easily. We have 2 spare hours until dinner. What would you like to do? Let's meet with the others and start studying. I would like to take a bit of time for myself. Oh. Okay, so since I'm trying to get to know the other characters, I'm just gonna go and study with them. Do you think Rick and Damian would like to start scheduling our study time? I was already rather afraid of not being able to follow the rhythm of the lessons and failed spectacularly with my grades. Monty shrugged and turned to the stairs. I can't speak for Damian, but I'm sure Rick will be up to it. Let's go into the study room. Hey Rick, are you into the study room? Can we go with you? We could start planning our study time for this term. What do you think? Rick was standing there in the corridor, outside the bedroom, and avoiding my eyes as usual. He looked a bit more comfortable than Monty though, not only looking at his face, but also allowing Monty to pat his shoulder without wincing. I wish, but the study room is already full. What? Those guys are serious that fast? How did they manage to reach the room so quickly, damn it? There's no other place to study? We can go to the library, but remember, we must be quiet as possible, or the librarian will be throwing us out of the place and ban us from entering again. Of course. Well, at least he spoke to me, I thought. I followed them to the library. It was a nice and comfortable place. It reminded me a bit of my father's study, where I used to spend all the winter afternoons studying or reading. Rick explained to me in a quiet voice everything we learned in class in that day and that I didn't understand. I must say, he was really good at a teacher. It was easier to understand him than understanding our teachers. The curious thing is that once he started to focus on the school subjects, he forgot completely about his shyness or whatever he has around me, and spent almost 2 hours leaning against my side to help me without being heard from the librarian's desk. We might look like 2 conspirators speaking in whispers and throwing suspicious glances around us to check if we weren't being overheard. Monty sat in front of us, glancing all the time in our direction. He didn't seem to be very focused on his homework, to be honest, and most of the time he was just spacing out. At last, he looked again at the wall clock and stood up, pulling an arm to make me get up as well. Study time is over! You have monopolized Alex enough for today! Let's go to the dining hall already! Rick looked confused and just glanced at him while nodding. Sorry. What are you apologizing for? You helped me out a lot. I'm really grateful. I owe you one. He looked at me and his cheeks tinted lightly. Oh, he's blushing. He's embarrassed. I couldn't help but chuckle. Rick got embarrassed so easily that it was almost cute. And Monty honestly thought Rick wasn't shy. Perhaps they weren't that close, even from sharing a room for years. Interrupting my thoughts, Monty wrapped an arm around my shoulder and pushed me towards the door. Shh! Remember, we can't speak loudly in here. Let's go! And the 3 of us took our books back to our bedroom and then headed to the dining hall. I think Monty's a little bit jealous there, right? We got some attention from Rick, so he's just like, why isn't Alex looking at me? We sat at what I now call in my mind our table. I wonder where the hell Damian is hiding today. Well, it doesn't matter. After all, it's usually for him to disappear for hours, and you better not ask him where he's been. What do you mean? Monty sighed, and he shared a pointed look with Rick. Rick pushed his glasses up his nose, then glanced in the opposite wall, apparently embarrassed. I don't know if I should tell you, but, well, you're better off warned, aren't you? Warned about what? Damian adores breaking rules, so he usually does something that goes against the school norms. That doesn't surprise me. He's like the bad boy, right? Is he like a tsundere kind of guy? Because I kind of get that vibe from him. Right now, he's probably playing dice or poker or betting money on it. What? Really? Rick nodded. And there's a possibility that some of the teachers are at his poker game. I couldn't say a word, too shocked for a form of coherent thoughts. And just right then, right when the plates were starting to be served, Damian appears and sat in front of me. He reeked of cigarettes and alcohol and looked over with a smirk. Our plates arrived and I was glad to have something to do. Enduring Damian's stare was a bit too much for me. Hey, check them out, the boys are hanging out together. Why does Monty always have like a croissant roll in his mouth? Say Alex, I was wondering, why did you transfer from your school to St. Michael's? There's just a year left before the university after all. That... I knew they would eventually ask me about that. It's not that I'm ashamed of my family's background, but I fear that they would think that I didn't belong at St. Michael's and would be disappointed in me. My uncle Edward, my father's younger brother, passed away 2 months ago. Since he didn't have children of his own, and my father was his favorite brother, my uncle left an amount of money for my education in his will. We weren't even close, it was a surprise for everybody, but of course my parents were delighted and planned at once to send me to a good school, to help me enter Oxford or Cambridge. So your parents are not wealthy? No, my father's a lawyer, but he owns a really modest firm. Ha! My father could buy your whole village if he wanted to. Well, that's a little bit, rude. Ignore him, Alex. Rick's father's a lawyer as well. I looked at Rick and Monty relieved. And my family has a lot of money, but with so many relatives, I don't think I can aspire to get more than a good education from them. We are too many to share. I nodded. Hey, don't be offended, it was a joke. I'm not so uptight to mind about those kind of things. Damian's father is an important politician, didn't you know? Yeah, and one day I'm going to be a diplomat. Next year will be a law in Oxford, and I'll finish a term in Sandhurst, the military academy, and then hopefully a couple of years in the colonies. Sounds nice. Damian looked at me as if I insulted him. That was sarcasm. He doesn't want to do any of that stuff. Sounds boring as hell. All of my careers sound positively boring as well, you get. I'm not excited to get into stock exchange, although working in the city seems too good enough. Hey, at least you'll be in London and not some foreign shithole being eaten alive by mosquitoes or worse things. And you, Rick? And you, Rick? What are you gonna study? Rick shrugged, pulling a face. He's gonna be a lawyer, of course, like his father. Not that I like it, there's no other option. And you, Alex? Yes! Tell us have you chosen yet? I glanced at my half-empty plate, embarrassed to be focused on their attention. All three of them looked at me intently, and I felt really uninterested in a doll all of a sudden. I haven't decided yet, no. My parents want me to study law or medicine, but I'd rather study something like history. Damian chuckled. That's for poor bookworms who end their sad lives as school teachers. Is that what you want? That's rude! What I wanted right now was to hide under the table. I still don't know, I've told you. Well, whatever. He stood from the table. We followed suit since we already finished our meal. I think it's alright, as long as you choose something you enjoy doing. Yeah, I wish I could choose. I would study history over law any time of day. I felt slightly better. I was surprised that even the stern environment, I had found mates who would support me no matter how wealthy my family was or my future. That's true, at least they're not judging him for being poor, you know? Just, Damian is kind of rude. When we were walking over to the dining hall, a guy from my class stopped me. Hey, you're the new one, right? They told me they have a little parcel for you, so you must go see Wilson right now and get it. A parcel? Thank you. You're getting a parcel from home already? I bet it's food. A house-made cake. Nah, knowing my mother, it must be more winter clothes. I'll go into the hall and pick it up. Do you want me to go with you? Oh, thank you. No need for that. Okay, but think of me if it's cake, will you? I grinned and waved goodbye to Monty and Rick. Damian had already scurried away. I could more or less remember how to get from the dining hall to the housemaster's office. I was a bit worried because the corridors were completely empty by then. Everybody seemed to leave for the study rooms or the bedrooms after dinner. And I definitely didn't want to get lost. I took the main- Why is it always creepy music? I'm just getting a parcel! I took the main stairs, glad to remember where they were. The steps were high and the stairs were long and made a curve, so one had in mind to step while climbing down. Why is this music so intense all of a sudden? Suddenly I felt a push in my back as if I bumped into another student. Was I focused on the stairs that I hadn't noticed whoever was going down? Lost my footing and the ground was level with my face in a snap. I tried to regain my balance, reaching for the railing but no success. Starting to panic, I say how the railing slipped from my fingers and I kept falling down the stairs. I tried again to reach for something, anything that could stop my fall, but my body kept spinning down the stairs. I was too shocked and frightened to feel any pain, but my head and limbs kept bumping against the hard plane and the angle of the stone stairs. Then I bumped against something soft for a change and I stopped tumbling. Disoriented, I felt two arms around me and I realized I was lying on the floor in the middle of an endless stairs, half top of another student. You have a knack for getting lost, don't you? Damian? When I could focus on my sight, I saw Damian's face barely inches from mine. I had noticed that I had run over him. His hands were holding me to avoid falling down. Embarrassed, I tried to move from my position on top of him. I'm so sorry! Damian laughed amused. I wouldn't mind. Had I not been a bloody step digging against my back. I got up and helped him to his feet. Are you alright? It's me who should ask. You look all battered. Yes, thank you for stopping my fall. The two of us looked stairs down. There was still a flight of stairs until the ground. I looked upstairs and I saw I had fallen 2 flights. No wonder everything hurt. As soon as I left foot touched the ground, the pain traveled up my leg until it reached my spine. Damian threw me a concerned look. Can you move that foot? Is it an ankle? I think I might have been sprained. Let's hope it's not broken. You could have broken some bones with your fall, you know. Or more than some bones. You really are lucky. I hadn't thought about it, but when he said it, yes, I was lucky just to have a sprained ankle. Damian helped me and reached my feet. So wait, did someone push us? Or did we, like, trip or something? And when we headed to the housemaster's office in the hall, Wilson was horrified seeing me being half carried by Damian. What happened, boy? Is it just your second day here? Damn it! I know, I'm sorry. I bumped against someone in the main stairs and fell down. You bumped against someone? Who was it? I shrugged. I couldn't see. He could have gone downstairs with you to help, couldn't he? Yes, that would be a very sensible thing to do in this situation. You were supposed to be a gentleman. Perhaps he didn't notice? I don't know. Or he was frightened? I felt embarrassed enough that I wanted to drop the subject. I sat down in the housemaster's office and Wilson put me an anti-inflammatory cream and bandage on my ankle. Damian stood by me to help me to walk back to my dorm afterwards. Now that I think about it, in fact, I was coming here to pick up a parcel. Wilson threw me an odd look. What parcel? We didn't receive anything yet. But a guy from my classroom told me you had a parcel for me. Damian frowned. Oh no, this is where the harassment's gonna start, isn't it? Oh no. Well, I can assure you there isn't any parcel. You can look around here if you want, see? Alright, maybe they heard it wrong. I didn't know what to think, honestly. We found Monty and Rick at the door. We shared our room. Monty opened his eyes wide as saucers when he saw me limping towards him, holding myself on Damian's shoulder. What the hell happened? And the parcel? Well, it turns out there was a mistake and there wasn't any parcel, and on top of that I fell on the stairs. How could you have fallen down? Did you slip? Damian helped me sit down on the bed. He says another boy bumped him against him and made him fall, but he didn't see who he was. What? What the hell were they thinking? You could have broken your neck, you know. The steps on the main stairs are very high. I know. I was lucky I just sprained my ankle. Has Wilson called the doctor? There's no need. I can move my ankle. It's not broken, see? I moved my ankle in a careful, slow circles to show them. It hurt, but it wasn't as painful as before. As long as I don't put all my weight on my left foot, I'll be okay. If you say so. We're going to the bathroom. Do you want me to go help you? I hadn't thought of it. How embarrassing. It's not embarrassing. They're your friends now, right? But after all the endless day, I really needed a bath, so I would have to swallow my pride and let them help me. Damian took the things he needed for his bath and left while I was still hesitating. Come on, Alex, grab your pajamas and towels and stuff. I bet there's already a mile-long queue for the bathroom. In the end, Rick went ahead to the queue for the 3 of us, while Monty helped me pick up the things and I needed for the bathroom. Some of the other boys had pity on me and let us jump ahead in the queue, but they still had to wait in the corridor for half an hour. When it was almost my turn, I suddenly heard someone bickering loudly, and I didn't recognize Damian's voice at once. I turned the corner, and there, in front of 2 open bathrooms, Damian was grabbing the front of the shut-up classmate who told me to go to the housemate earlier. Oh, okay, here we go. Damian was scary. He was smirking, showing his teeth, threateningly merciless, a mere inches from the other boy's face, and he was almost lifting the guy off the ground. Did you think it would be funny playing a prank on the new kid, eh? I'm telling you! One of the servants told me to pass the word. I don't know anything about the prank. As if. Tell whoever is behind that the kid in this bedroom. So am I the only one who has the right to play pranks on him if I wish. Besides, what would you have done if he ended up seriously injured, eh? The poor guy was starting to sob by then. I stepped forward, jumping onto my ground foot to stop that nonsense. Damian, stop it already, come on! Damian looked at me through squinted eyes and then gave his last waggle at the guy. Will you remember then? Do I have your word? This kid is mine, so leave him alone! He let go of the boy and then he ran to his bedroom screaming. All the people around, mostly my classmates, started to stare with curiosity. Embarrassed, I approached Damian. That was unnecessary. Do you really think it's a prank? Damian shrugged and started walking, giving me his back. There's always the possibility. I jumped behind him, annoyed. Well, you could have at least told me and I would have talked to that guy. Sure. Nah, he's too much of a tough boy. He's gotta be a tough boy for Alex. We arrived where Rick and Monty were waiting for me, watching the whole scene with surprise. I stopped by them, but Damian kept on walking. Hey, don't refer to me as kid again. We're the same age. Damian chuckled and turned to look at me. You were just a little bird, barely leaving the nest. And turning around again, he reached the stairs and left. The week went by really slowly. I spent almost all my spare time trying to catch up on the daily homework, but I was still wrongly behind some subjects. There were already essays to be written, coming midterm exams and group projects. Rick had distributed the tasks for the projects and prepared a surprisingly detailed schedule for the whole term. I was amazed at his organization skills. Honestly, I had never met someone so clever and with such a tidy mind in my whole life. But I hadn't spared any time to ask him to help me with the subjects I was more behind on, and I was a bit ashamed of asking anyway. I didn't want to bother him. This was that by the end of the week my ankle was much better and I could already walk without help, that is, limping of course. It had been really embarrassing to have Monty accompany me to my classroom, the dining hall, and everywhere for a whole week, and also helping me dress and undress in the morning and evenings. I had drawn the line at helping me in the bath. However helpful he was, I closed myself to the bath every time and I didn't allow him to help. Yeah, I imagine you wouldn't want your new friend to see you in the nude, considering you just met a week ago. So I was glad that I didn't have to rely on him anymore, no matter how happy he was to help me. Sunday arrived, and with the first free day in St. Michael's. I don't want to spend the day at my cousin Gary's! I chuckled. Monty has been complaining since I woke up. Do they live near here? Half an hour by car. My parents are picking me up in 10 minutes and will bring me back in the evening. I'd rather spend the Sunday here with you. Well, my ankle's way better, and I'm sure you'll have fun with your family. I'm glad to go from this building too, but my village is a good 3-hour train ride from here. Monty sighed. Rick and Damian were staying at the school as well, so I suppose he felt a little left aside. What are you gonna do today? I don't know. I should study and also promise to write home. Shrug, still undecided. Okay then, see you at dinner time! Go for the walk in the gardens, go to the study room. I'm assuming this is gonna be Rick and this is gonna be Damian, I guess? Kinda wanna go to Damian if he's there, so let's go to the gardens. I started the day writing a letter for my parents, playing down the stairfall, of course. But after the task was done, I found myself staring out the window. The morning was sunny, and the garden looked beautiful and alluring. I decided my books could wait until the afternoon, and I went for a walk outside. The gardens was actually just the entrance of the school, quaint but not very large. But there in the rear grounds of the school, there was woods. I decided to head to that place. I followed the dirt path between the trees. The air was quiet, and the trees had a nice range of orchid tones? I don't know how to say that. A week ago, it was still summer, but autumn was starting to show everywhere. I walked along the path until my ankle started to bother me, and then I entered the foliage, and I sat down under a tree. The silence was relaxing. I was glad to have decided to go out, but I'd been so busy and stressed by the lessons that the novelist in me, in my life, hadn't noticed that I had been shut inside 4 walls for almost a whole week. So it's nice to sit down there, over the tree leaves, spacing out and hearing only birds singing. Alright, not only the birds. I sighed as soon as I heard some voices on the other side of the dense group of trees. Of course it was impossible that I was the only one who had thought coming down over here. Why did I think that everybody would be either playing cricket or studying indoors? I didn't feel like standing up and leaving, so I peered between the trees to see if I recognized who it was. Perhaps they would leave soon? Oh, that was Damian. And he wasn't alone. Was that girl with him? Oh yes, those giggles were unmistakable. Damian was leaning against a tree, smoking a cigarette. Wait! This is an all-boys school! Where did the girl come from? Well, the fact that he smoked wasn't any shock news by that point. What were they doing? I squinted my eyes and tried to distinguish what was going on. The girl tiptoed and kissed Damian on the mouth, hooking an arm around his neck. Damian threw his cigarette and kissed her back, and then he lowered his hand and raised her skirts. Oh, okay. Leaving his hand somewhere inside of her clothes, where I couldn't see. A twig creaked under my foot. I cursed in my head, although the creak sounded clear and loud in the silent woods. The girl instantly turned in my direction, saw my silhouette, and started to run away along the path. I crawled backwards, frightened, covering my mouth with my hand, and certain that Damian would hear my breathing. My blood was pulsing. It's like he's a monster or something. My blood was pulsing loudly against my temples, and all of a sudden I felt as if I'm being loud as an elephant. Damian turned to look in my direction, clearly furious. Fantastic! You've scared her away! And who's that, by the way? I tried to turn and run away, but my back bumped against a tall brush. Damian advanced some steps into my direction. I didn't think he could see my face through the trees, but he suddenly smiled knowingly. Is that you, little bird? And he started walking after his girlfriend. He wasn't mad at me then? I didn't know if I should feel relieved or not. Suddenly, going back to the school and watching the cricket match started to seem a great idea. In the end, I spent all day with some of the schoolmates, had stayed in the school. I watched the cricket match, at lunch studied a bit in the library with them. And in the end, in the afternoon, I decided to go for a walk by the woods again. A bit of fresh air before dinner would be great after the closed space of the library. And I wouldn't have a bad luck of bumping against Damian and his girlfriend twice in a day, would I? Probably did. The sun was already setting behind the mountains on the other side of town, and the light was golden and peach-colored between the leaves and the trees. The weather was still warm, and it felt nice to walk through the peaceful woods. I still limped, of course, but I decided to walk. A short walk wouldn't hurt my ankle. I wasn't going to overexert it after all. I followed the dirt path until its end. The path finished in the metal fence, while the wood kept going through the other side and some miles more, until I reached the main road and ran through the shrine. The shadows of the trees were standing to stretch to the ground, and the air was growing colder, so I thought it was a good moment to come back to the school. Dinner time would be soon anyway. Turned back and limped through the path, trying to keep a good rhythm. Afterwards, oh my god, here we go again, are the freaking bullies here again? Afterwards, when I remembered that moment, I swear I could hear the birds and the autumn breeze among the leaves. But there was clearly something else in the woods, or better said, someone else. Suddenly, I fell onto the ground, a blurry shadow jumping on me and making me stay with my back glued to the hard dirt on the path. What is wrong with these people? I pushed and tried to wiggle out of their hold, but the attacker was bigger and stronger than me. Who the hell was that? My heart started to race when I saw my attacker's face, covered in a mask. It was one of those, Vatians masks, that some people use in the masquerade balls, dark brown with a short feathers on one side. It covered the man's face because at least I could see that he was definitely a male to top his mouth, so I could only see his square chin and his thin lips. Was this still a prank? I couldn't recognize any of my classmates under the mask, but it entered the realm of possibility. But he was strong. He was holding my two wrists under one of his huge hands. Jesus Christ! I was almost achieving slipping away from under his weight, but then he punched my jaw in his spare hand, made my head spin. Oh my god! Although I stopped struggling for a moment, when I focused the sight again, there was something metallic in the corner of my eye. A knife? I started yelling at once, realizing that my struggling was useless against my opponent, and started to feel really frightened. I tried to free my arm with all my might, but it was all for naught. My legs, too, were immobilized under his weight, and I couldn't land a single kick, no matter how much I tried. The metallic lint moved up, over the man's head, and then I could see clearly. It was a knife! Yes! A big, sharp-edged butcher's knife! What is wrong with these people? What the hell? Why do you want to kill Alex? And the man had raised it, with the intention of burning it into my chest. Panicking, I kept yelling, wiggling and kicking in the air. I felt completely helpless. My ears didn't even register the sound of leaves being stomped on and the rustle of clothes when someone grabbed the back of the man's jacket and pushed him to the ground. Still in shock, I breathed shallowly. Alex? Are you okay? Did he hurt you? The attacker didn't waste any moment to push himself up and started running away, really fast. What the heck? Two of my classmates ran after him while Monty stayed by me, watching me with wide-eyed concern. Take my hand, can you stand up? I let him help me back to my feet. I was still breathless, and I felt a sob trying to escape through my throat. I closed my eyes and pushed it down. I wasn't going to cry. I was strong. I wasn't a kid anymore. Shh, it's all right. The next thing I felt was his arms around my torso, and his familiar scent wrapped around me. Relieved, I basked in the feeling of being safe and warm, although I managed to keep my eyes dry. Not that it was easy, though. The temptation of crying out of nerves was great. But it was my new friend who was hugging me, not my mother, so my pride got the best of me, and I pushed him gently after a moment. Thank you, Monty. What did you see? Well, I was at the fence entering the school where I met Ed and Millard, and then we heard your shout. We ran here as fast as we could, and we saw the guy on top of you with a knife in his hand. What the hell, Alex? What's going on? I swear I haven't the slightest idea. Our two classmates came back running out of breath. Sorry, he was faster than us. Oh no, don't tell me he escaped. I'm really sorry. We couldn't catch him. Did he escape through the main door? No. He jumped over the fence before he could reach the door and kept running through the woods. We followed him, but he was very fast, and we lost sight of him. What a disgrace! Well, come on, Alice. We must inform the head teacher at once. I nodded and limped back to the school, supporting my part of my weight onto Monty's arm. I was a bit nervous to go bother the head teacher in his room and on a Sunday evening, but I guess it couldn't be helped. You just almost got killed! What do you mean bother him? You gotta report this! Of course he had to be informed if a masked man attacked one of his pupils inside the school. He made pass into a small sitting room, cozy and comfortable, and offered us tea. The sight of my shaking hands, limping a foot in the state of my poor uniform, sure gave him a fright and told him something bad had happened. Monty helped me explain the events. The head teacher listened to us in silence, frowning. So, that man jumped the fence into the woods, attacked you, and ran away through the same place he had entered, right? Well, I didn't see him until I had him already on top of me, so I don't know if he came through the fence or not. The main door to the school grounds was closed until this group of boys arrived. How many of you were there, boy? We were about 10, I would say. 3 of my classmates, counting myself, were a bunch of younger students. Did you see someone suspicious around the door? No, but there were parents and also some coachmen bringing back students back. The head teacher waved away that thought. We're not starting to suspect our own students' fathers and coachmen, are we? The facts are clear. The masked man jumped over the fence to enter the school through the woods to avoid being seen, with an unfortunate Mr. White here who has been in his way. It's obviously a burglar. I will call the police right now, and with luck they will catch him while he's still hiding in town. What? Your first instinct is a burglar. Why would they come to a school to, like, rob you? It's a school, you know? You figured they would go to a house or something, because that makes more sense. What is wrong with this guy? Go to the dining hall, young man, and have your footman clean the uniform for tomorrow, Mr. White. I nodded. My poor trousers were dirty and muddy from dry leaves. Monty and I went back to our bedroom, first to wash ourselves a bit. I brushed my trousers the best I could and asked the footman if I could give them to him after dinner to clean. He accepted in exchange for a tip, of course. I sighed relieved. My pocket money was scarce, but at least it would be well spent. Alex, what happened? Rick appeared at the door and looked at me from head to toe, startled. Realized that I was even in my uniform, looked way better than before. I still had mud and leaves in my hair, and my shoes were a disaster. Monty came to help me, and as always, and explained to Rick about all the masked burglar. Rick kept looking at me intently. When Monty finished his story, Rick came closer to me and inspected my wrists. Your wrists are bruised. It's nothing, it doesn't hurt. You've had a rough week. First the fall on the stairs and now this? Exactly. I suppose you didn't think this was a coincidence, do you? I frowned, confused. What do you mean? Both things are not related. Think about it for a moment. First, some unknown student accidentally pushes you down the long, high set of stairs, and now another unknown person attacks you with a knife. It was a burglar. Why would anyone attack me on purpose? What are you implying? Are you sure there isn't any reason for someone to go after you? Don't be ridiculous. It's Alex we're talking about. If it was Damian, perhaps someone would have a grudge over him, but Alex? I reckon you're right. Our other roommate, Damian, walked in at that very moment, smirking as always. Where were you? I told Miller to look for you, but he couldn't find you. Damian took a bunch of wrinkled banknotes from the inner pockets of his jacket. There were 1 pound of notes and also 5-pound ones. I guess he had at least had 20 pounds just there. There's quite a lot for these times. Why does he have that? I was busy earning a bonus from my allowance. You know, it's always nice to have a bit of pocket money. Monty groaned and covered his face with his hands, while Rick and I shared an uneasy look. I don't want to know how you won all of this money. If the teachers find out, I don't want to get involved at all. Damian chuckled and put away the notes carelessly in the drawer. Oh, don't worry about that. They already know. In fact, I guess they're expecting a rematch next Sunday. Try to win it back all the money they've lost today. Oh, he was gambling. Monty groaned louder and shook his head in disbelief. You will never change, will you? You must teach me how to be good with poker one of these days. Rick's comment surprised the 3 of us, and I ended up giggling with Damian over it. What? I swore I wouldn't use that knowledge in school, but you never know when it can come in handy. Damian patted his back, grinning, and seemed about to leave again for the dining hall when he noticed the way I looked. Hey, what's wrong? You fell down again, little bird? And between the 3 of us, we told them about the events that transpired in the woods. Damian sat down in silence for a moment, frowning. Mates, I agree with Rick. This is not a coincidence. Why? I mean, why would someone attack me? We don't know, but perhaps you could do some research, don't you think? Well, if you 2 agree, then it means there's a chance it's true. I get going to the dining hall. Playing poker always makes me hungry. See you there. And he left without waiting for us, as always. Monty sighed. Okay, what about brushing your hair a bit and taking all that mud and leaves and then going to have dinner? I nodded. I didn't notice before, but I was starving. So that's what we did. I asked him to leave the topic of my attack until the next morning since I was already too anxious and I really needed to relax for the rest of the evening. I think Alex just needs to go somewhere with people, not by himself. Okay guys, I'm gonna end this episode of A Hand in the Darkness. I really didn't think this was gonna turn so dark because I know this is meant to be like a cute, like, you know, yaoi dating sim, but at the same time, Alex is getting assaulted and he almost died. That was really weird and really scary, and the fact that the principal was just like, oh, it's a burglar. That's your first thought? Really? Ugh. Anyway, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. And I think I'm not entirely sure what order I should go because like the choices have been kind of weird. I may do Damian first, then Monty, and then Rick, but I'll see because I'm still unsure of like who to choose first. But I do like all the characters, like all their different dynamics, and like how Rick is like very quiet and shy, but he's not really shy. And then we have like Monty, who's very energetic and very friendly, and then Damian, who is a sweetheart underneath, but he's a tough dude. So you know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you know when I upload the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye! What the heck is going on? Is this girl like crazy? Is she trying to scare them? Is that what she's trying to do? Suddenly the lights go on. And sometimes that brings people together in a not so cute way. Here are 6 terribly awkward romances in video games. Number 6. Cole and Elsa.